The antique shop was crammed with dusty relics. It smelled like old books and forgotten things. I wandered through the narrow aisles, fascinated by the strange objects. Then I saw her. She was sitting on a shelf, all alone. Her porcelain face was cracked and faded, but her blue eyes seemed to follow me. The shopkeeper saw me staring. He told me her name was Eliza. He said she was just what my room needed. I hesitated. Something about the doll made me uneasy. But the shopkeeper smiled and I found myself agreeing. I paid for Eliza and took her home with me. She sat on my bedside table, her blue eyes staring into the darkness. I tried to ignore the feeling that she was watching me. That night, I had a nightmare. I dreamt that Eliza was alive. She was speaking to me, her voice a raspy whisper. When I woke up, my heart was pounding. I looked at the doll. She was just as I had left her. Or was she? I couldn't shake the feeling that she had moved. The next day, I tried to convince myself that I was being silly. It was just a doll. But the feeling of unease persisted. I started noticing little things. Things moving in my room. A book knocked off my shelf. My jewelry box left open. I told myself it was just the wind. But deep down I wasn't so sure. One night I woke to a scratching sound. It seemed to be coming from inside my closet. I slowly got out of bed and crept towards the sound. My hand trembled as I reached for the doorknob. I threw open the door. The closet was empty. Except for Eliza. She was lying on the floor, her blue eyes wide open. I must have knocked her in there when I was putting away my laundry, I thought. But a shiver ran down my spine as I picked her up. Her porcelain skin was cold to the touch. I put her back on the bedside table, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The nightmares continued, each one more vivid than the last. Eliza was always there, her blue eyes glowing in the darkness. I started sleeping with the lights on, too afraid to close my eyes. I knew I had to do something. One afternoon, I decided to take Eliza back to the antique shop. I carefully wrapped her in a blanket and carried her outside. As I was getting into my car, I thought I saw her head move. I stopped, my heart pounding in my chest. But when I looked again, she was still. I told myself it was just my imagination. That night I slept soundly for the first time in weeks. I woke up feeling refreshed and relieved. Maybe I'd finally gotten rid of Eliza. I got out of bed and went to the window, eager to greet the day. As I pulled back the curtains, I gasped. Eliza was sitting on my window seat, her blue eyes staring at me. I froze, my blood turning to ice. How did she get back here? I had taken her to the antique shop myself. I ran to the window seat and grabbed her. Her porcelain skin was as cold as ice. I threw her in the trash can outside, slamming the lid shut. That night I lay awake in bed, listening for any sound. But there was nothing. Eliza was gone. Or so I thought. When I woke up the next morning, I felt a chill run down my spine. I slowly turned my head towards the source of the feeling. And there, sitting at the edge of my bed, was Eliza. Her blue eyes seemed to burn into me, filled with an evil I couldn't comprehend.